So, okay, I've been watching solo devs set up OpenClaw the way YouTube told them to. Morning briefs, Telegram bots, content factories, and then a week later, silence. They're back to Claude Code pretending it never happened, and I haven't heard a single person explain why. Okay, so you've seen it. You've definitely seen it. OpenClaw is everywhere right now. Crossed React on GitHub stars, fastest growing open source project, and every AI creator out there is posting about how their morning brief changed their life or how they replaced all their apps with one Telegram bot. And, cool, good for them. But here's the thing. I went and watched a bunch of those videos, and I kept waiting for the part where they show you how it helps you ship an app, like actually ship, and it just never came. Because what are they doing with it? Email automation, news scrapers, daily summaries of, I don't know, their own to-do list, and then going on camera and calling it a game changer. And I'm sitting there in Xcode staring at a half-finished feature thinking, okay, but I already have Claude Code reading my entire code base. I already have Codex running tasks in the background. What problem is this solving that those tools aren't? You know what I mean? Like, I don't need an AI to fetch my email. I need something that understands my PRD and helps me get the next build out without breaking the last one. And it's a completely different thing. And looks, I'm not going after those creators. If that's your workflow, genuinely, go for it. But if you're a solo dev who's already got .md files dialed in, who's already built a harness, who's already structuring projects for agents, you've probably watched one of those videos and thought, how does this help me, right? Because the demos feel hollow. They're aimed at people who've never used a coding agent before, people who think the magic is talking to a bot through WhatsApp. And for us, that's just not it. But, and this is the part that got me. I went past the YouTube thumbnails, actually read the docs, spent a couple weeks digging into the architecture, and what I found is that OpenClaw has something genuinely interesting that I hadn't seen anyone in the hype cycle actually dig into. It's not the chat interface. It's not the morning briefs. It's the persistent agent loop, the fact that it stays running, holds state, and can execute stuff without you being at the keyboard. And if you already have Claude Code handling your coding sessions, that persistent layer becomes something else entirely. It becomes your ops layer, the thing that catches what falls between sessions. But, and this matters, only if you configure it that way, which takes real work, like at least 2 solid weeks before you see anything useful. And, that's not a great hook for a YouTube video. So instead, you get the morning brief demo for the 1,000th time. Anyway, just real quick, I'm Daniel. I've been living in the iOS trenches for over 9 years. Started out freelancing, working with clients, bouncing between all sorts of projects. But after Dub 25, I went all in on solo dev life. Since then, I've crafted over 26 of my own apps, started building everything in public, and honestly, right now, pretty much all my energy goes into Crafter's Lab. And yeah, it isn't just another tutorial site or some AI clone farm. This is a live workshop. Slack is where I'm building in the open, agents in the mix, the crew right there with me. It's for solo devs who want to use AI like a real teammate, not a vending machine. If you're serious about building with care, you'll feel right at home. And yeah, if you're still hanging on with Patreon, huge thanks. But heads up, everything's moved over to crafterslab.dev. That's where it's all happening now. So come be part of the crew. Would love to have you building with us. So, okay, here's where I want to flip this whole thing, because I just spent that entire section kind of going after the hype, and I need to I stand by all of it. But OpenClaw is not useless. It's just not useful the way people are showing you. And that's a really important difference. So what does it actually do? Like, stripped down, no hype. At its core, it's a persistent AI agent that runs on your machine, always on, connected to whatever channels you want, Slack, Telegram, whatever. And it has access to real tools, shell commands, APIs, your file system, browser, code execution, and it remembers context between sessions. That's the pitch, and that part is true, all of it. But out of the box, it's basically a chatbot with terminal access. That's it. The actual value only shows up after you configure it. And I mean really configure it. Custom skills, scoped permissions, sandboxed environments, dedicated accounts for each agent. So you don't want your App Store agent poking around in your code base, right? You're not just installing this and vibing, you're building an agent system, and that takes time. And okay, this is the part that actually got me thinking, because your coding agents, Claude Code, Codex, Cursor, those are session based. You open them, you work, they help you build like session ends, context resets. That's the model. And it works great. But there's this whole layer of stuff that happens between sessions that none of them touch. Your App Store reviews came in overnight, a dependency pushed a breaking change. Your CI failed on yesterday's commit. You've been there. 8 a.m. clicking through App Store Connect, then GitHub, then your project board, just trying to figure out what happened while you were sleeping. And none of your coding agents know about any of that. They're not running. And that's the gap. That's what OpenClaw actually fills when you set it up right, not as a coding agent, as a persistent background process for your whole operation. It runs continuously, watches things on a schedule, and it doesn't forget between sessions. So your CI fails at 2 a.m. and it pings you in Slack with the actual error context before you even open your laptop, or it pulls your latest App Store reviews and drops a summary before you start your morning session, or it watches a GitHub repo for dependency changes and flags stuff that might break your next build. That's real. That saves you time. It's not flashy, but it's real. And I keep coming back to this because it's important. You have to build all of that yourself. And here's what most people don't realize. When you run OpenClaw in one continuous session, which is how most people do it, every scheduled task is paying the token cost of the entire conversation history before it. So your little App Store check at 6 a.m., it's dragging along everything you asked OpenClaw to do yesterday, and the day before that, and the day before that. That adds up fast. The people who make this actually work, they isolate sessions per agent, different context per task, scoped permissions. You're basically building microservices, except the services are AI agents. And yeah, that's not something you figure out from a YouTube demo. So yeah, okay, I actually run OpenClaw. I've been running it for a while now. And I know, I just spent the last section being all skeptical, and now I'm telling you I use it daily. But hear me out, because I don't use it the way anyone on YouTube is showing you. I call my setup Crafter Claw, and right now I'm running 6 agents, but it's not 6 copies of the same bot doing random stuff. These are scoped, purpose-built agents, each one wired into a specific part of my workflow. And here's the key. None of them are trying to be my coding agent. None. That's Claude Code's job. That's what Codex does. I don't care what anyone says. You don't need OpenClaw for coding. Crafter Claw handles everything around the code. The ops, the glue, the stuff that falls between the cracks when you're solo and there's literally no one else to catch it. So one agent monitors my App Store Connect, new reviews, rating changes, crash spikes, drops a summary into Slack every morning so I know the state of every live app before I even open Xcode. Another one watches my GitHub repos, dependency updates, security advisories, anything that might mess with my next build. And because I wrote a custom skill for it, it cross-references those changes against the specific packages each of my apps actually imports. So it's not just noise. It's filtered to what actually affects me. Another one handles content scheduling and not generating content. I tried that. It's not good enough. Just managing the pipeline, reminders, drafts moving between stages, that kind of thing. And, I didn't even realize how much of that stuff I was doing manually until I stopped doing it. And this is the part I keep thinking about. The reason this works is because I spent the time. I didn't install OpenClaw on a Friday night, run the demo, post a screenshot, and call it a day. I spent weeks scoping each agent, writing custom skills, setting permissions so tight that each one can only touch what it needs to touch. And even now, still tweaking, still adjusting. It's not a set it and forget it tool. It's a system you maintain. And if you're not willing to put in that upfront time, and look, that's totally valid, you're better off just sticking with Claude Code and Codex. Those tools are incredible on their own. I mean that. But if you're the kind of dev who already has a system, you've got your .md files dialed in, your project structure, your PRDs, your task boards, and you keep noticing these gaps between sessions where stuff just drifts, then yeah, give it the 2 weeks. I'm not sure it's for everyone. I'm genuinely not. But for the way I work, I can't go back. And I think if you're wired the same way, if you like building systems, if you like the ops side of solo dev, you might feel the same. I don't know. That's where I've landed for now. So yeah, if you're still here, you're a legend. And, if you're shipping right now without OpenClaw, keep shipping. Don't add stuff just because the internet told you to. But if things keep slipping through the cracks and you want something watching your back while you build, give it the 2 weeks. Scope it tight. Build it boring. Let it run. And, if you want to actually go deeper, check out crafterslab.dev. I put real time into this. Built it so that whether you're using Claude Code, Codex, Cursor, whatever comes next, it's not some tutorial dump. It's not another AI clone farm. This is a live workshop. I built it for solo devs who treat AI like a real teammate, not just a button you smash when you're stuck. And, it's packed. You get full walkthroughs, like actual short video tutorials. And yeah, resources means straight up downloadable zips you can drop right into your project. Members get to riff in the comments, ask follow-ups, go back and forth, and it all syncs straight to Slack, so the conversation just keeps going. And yeah, Slack's the real workshop. Crew's in there, agents are in there. It's like everyone's just building in the same room. That's just the start, because the real core is the Notion team spaces, my live playbook. Members get a front row seat to my command center. Every app I'm building, workflows, ideas, all the .md files I'm actually using on real projects, the docs I'm writing as I go, and all the automations I'm wiring up behind the scenes. There's a full curated Swift and Swift UI library team space too, not just some pile of old auto-generated files, but real, up-to-date stuff. It's packed with the kind of deep dive keynotes and private talks I paid some $100 for. You won't find any of this in the public training data. My AI skills for complex UI animation. This is all the modern. I use myself to power up agents, fine-tune models, and build out my own custom MCPs for Claude Code, for Cursor, all of it. There's a bunch of different ways to use it, and I'm always experimenting, always posting about it in the lab. And then there's Ops Lab. It's where I build and share all my Notion AI agent instructions, Notion templates, the workflows, automations, all wired up and ready for you to copy, tweak, totally break, and make your own. The whole point is to keep the indie stack connected so you don't feel like you're building in a silo, even if you're solo at the keyboard. So yeah, if you want to get in before it gets busy and prices start moving, now's kind of the sweet spot. The crew's still small, super hands-on, and it feels way more like a behind-the-scenes dev lounge than some giant faceless forum. Would love to see you in there. Swap some stories. Maybe even learn something from what you're building next. Keep crafting. Peace.